Hello everyone, my name is Harika, working as Assistant Professor in Marri Laxman Reddy Institute of Technology and Management. In this session, I am going to explain about CPU scheduling algorithms. There are four different types of CPU scheduling algorithms are there. One is first come first serve scheduling. Second is shortest job first scheduling, priority scheduling, and round robin scheduling. These are the different types of CPU scheduling algorithm that are operated by the operating system. In first scheduling algorithm, that is in first come first served scheduling algorithm, when we are taking, for example, we are taking three processes: process 1, process 2, process 3, and the burst time of those processes are 24, 3, 3. What is burst time? That means the time the CPU taking the control of the particular process is nothing but burst time. Suppose we are taking processes in the order P1, P2, P3, and in this chart, in CPU, it is entering first process P1, and the waiting time of P1 is 0 because there is no other process before that. So P1 of waiting time of P1 is 0. And what is the burst time of P1? 24. So just write 24 here. This is the burst time of P1, and next P2 will enter into the CPU. Before that, P2 waiting time is what? This burst time of P1. That is nothing but 24. 0 plus 24 means 24. That is waiting time of P2. And what is the P2 burst time? 3. So 24 plus 3, 27. This is the waiting time of P3. Next P3 will enter after waiting time of P3. And P3 burst time is 3. P3 burst time is 3. 27 plus 3 is 30. That is nothing but turnaround time. What is turnaround time? It is total duration of the process from start to finish of that particular process. So this is a turnaround time of P3, and 27 is turnaround time of P2, like that. So waiting time of P1 is 24. P1 is 0, P2 is 24, P3 is 27. Then what is average waiting time? 0 plus 24 plus 27. How many processes are there? 3 processes. By 3. Now you will get answer as 17. So if we take the processes in the order of P1, P2, P3, then we got average waiting time is 17. For example, if you take another order like P2, P3, P1, P2, P3, P1. So in this, if the P2 is entering into the CPU, waiting time is 0. Okay. Then P2 burst time is what? P2 burst time is 3. So P2 burst time is 3 here. Then P3 waiting time is what? 3. Next P3 burst time is what? 3. Okay. So after P3, P1 will execute based on this order. P1 will enter into the CPU. What is the waiting time of P1? 6. And what is the burst time of P1? 24. 24. 6 plus 24? 30. This is the turnaround time of P1. And turnaround time of P3 is 6. P2 is 3. Okay. So what are the waiting time for the P1? P1 is waiting time 6. P2 waiting time is 0. P3 waiting time is 3. Now, what is average time or average waiting time? P1 6 plus P2 0 plus P3 3 by 3. Answer is 3. It is much better than previous example. Previously, we have taken this order P1, P2, P3. In this order, if we take in this order, we got average waiting time as 17. When compared to this, if you take P2, P3, P1 in this order, then you'll get average waiting time is 3. This is much better than previous example, previous case. So what are the disadvantages of this FCFS scheduling algorithm? It is non-preemptive algorithm. That means it can't be interrupted once it is started. So until here process 1 is there. Here process 1 is there. This process is having burst time as 24. Until completion of this process 1, there is another process will not be interrupted to P1. So like that, in this that is a facility, and also that is a drawback of this FCFS scheduling algorithm. And also improper process scheduling means in some cases we are taking process 1, process 2, process 3. In some cases we are taking process 2, process 1, process 3, like that. We are taking in different orders. Based on different orders, we are getting average waiting time as different. So improper process scheduling is done in this. And resource utilization in parallel is not possible, which leads to convoy effect. That means in which whole operating system slows down due to few slow processes. If that means in this case, this P1 process P1 is having burst time 24. If it is in slow process, it is in slow to execute, then the process 2 and process 3 have to wait in that queue. That is the drawback. And resource poor resource utilization will be there because of slow processes. And next scheduling algorithm is shortest job first scheduling algorithm. In the name itself, it is the shortest job first. So that means based on the burst time, minimum burst time, we are taking CPU is taking. It will select the less time, smallest execution time to execute next. And also this shortest job first algorithm is best approach to minimize waiting time. For example, here we have taken process 1, process 2, process 3, process 4. 4 processes as an example, and burst time are 6, 8, 7, 3, like this. Okay. So in this, what is the shortest burst time here? 3. Yes. 3. So you need to select shortest job first, means which is having less burst time that process needs to enter into the CPU first. So P4 will enter into the CPU. Then after, next shortest burst time is what? 6. And here burst time of what is the process here? Process 1. Then it will enter into the process 1. Here P4 burst time is what? 3. And P4 waiting time is what? 0. And what about next? P1 process 1. That waiting time is what? 3. And what is the burst time? 6. How it is 6? How it is 3 here? The waiting time of the burst time of P4 is nothing but the waiting time of P1. Next shortest one is what? 7. That is nothing but process 3. Process 3 will enter into the CPU. What is the waiting time of process 2? Sorry, process 3? 9. 3 plus 6. 9. Then what is the process 3 burst time? 7. Next remaining is what? Process 2, that is having burst times 8. Then process 2 enter into the CPU with waiting time is 16. 9 plus 7, 16. And the burst time is what? 8. So 16 plus 8 is 24. That is a turnaround time of P2. Turnaround time, TT. Okay. And 16 is turnaround time of P3. 9 is turnaround time of P1. 3 is turnaround time of P4. Okay. And whereas here waiting time of P1, waiting time of P1 is what? 3. P2, where is P2? Here. 16. P3, 9. And P4 is 0. So you need to add to get the average. Average waiting time is 3 plus 16 plus 9 plus 0 by 4. Why 4 it is? Because 4 processes we have taken. So now you will get answer is 7. Okay. What is the disadvantage of a shortest job first scheduling algorithm? If you execute the process in the CPU, then you need to the CPU must know about total execution time of the job. Total execution time of the job must be known before execution. While it is not possible to perfectly predict the execution time, before entering into the CPU itself, all processes execution time must be known by the CPU. Otherwise, it is not possible to perfectly predict the execution time. That is the disadvantage in this shortest job first scheduling. And next one is priority scheduling algorithm. In the name itself, it is there. Priority. Based on the priority, the processes will enter into the CPU. If the CPU is given priority as something, priority number, that means integer, is associated with each process, the CPU is allocated to the process with the highest priority, smallest integer or highest priority. That process either preemptive or non-preemptive. SJF is a priority scheduling algorithm. SJF is a priority scheduling where priority is predicted next CPU burst time. Where priority is the predicted next CPU burst time. So here is the problem. What is that problem? Starvation. That means low priority processes may never execute. If they have low priority processes, they might never executed. And for that, what is the solution? Aging. As time progresses, increases the priority of the process. That is the solution for the starvation problem. For example, here we have taken 5 processes and burst time here, and we have given, that means CPU is given priority for each process. Okay, based on the priority, what is this scheduling algorithm? Priority scheduling. Based on the priority, that process which is having highest priority, that means first, if process 1 is having first priority, then process 1 will enter into CPU. Here CPU given priority 1 for P2. So P2, process P2 will enter into the CPU first. Okay, enter. Then what is the burst time of P2? 1. Next priority is what? 2. For that, P5 will enter into the CPU. P5 is having the priority 2. So based on that priority, P5 will enter into the CPU. What is the burst time? 5. 1 plus 5, 6. 6 is the waiting time of the next process. What is the next process? Based on the priority. Which priority? 1, 2, then 3. Priority 3 is having what? Process 1. Process 1 will enter into the CPU here. Burst time is what? This one. 10. Okay. 10. So 6 plus 10, 16. That is the waiting time of next process. What is the next process based on the priority? P3. Then P3 will enter into the CPU and the burst time is 2. Next, 16 plus 2, 18. That is the waiting time of next process. What is the next process? Priority 5, P4. P4 is having burst time as 1. 18 plus 1, 19. This is turnaround time of P4 and like vice versa. Next, average waiting time. You need to find out waiting times first. P1 is having waiting time of 6. What about P2? Here 0. P3 16. P4 18. And finally P5 1. So these are the waiting time of each processes, and average waiting time for all these processes, 5 processes, is nothing but you need to add and do it average, and finally you get the answer as 8.2 milliseconds. So in this scheduling algorithm, based on the priority, the CPU will enter into the CPU will give the priority to each process. Based on the priority, the process will enter into the CPU. After completion of execution, then that will be executed from the exit from the CPU. Next algorithm is round robin scheduling algorithm. Okay, the processes are dispatched in FIFO manner, first in, first out, but are given limited amount called time quantum or time slice. That means for every process, the CPU will give some time slice. Minimum time is there. Within that slot, within that slice, the process should execute. Otherwise, if it is not execute, then it will come again. That means round robin. Round robin means after executing all the processes, then it will come to first process again if it is not completed. If a process does not complete before its CPU time, CPU time expires, CPU is preempted and given chance to the next process waiting in queue. That's it. So here we have taken as an example 4 processes we have taken, and time quantum we have taken as 20. In this round robin, we are taking time quantum or time slice. We have taken as 20. Okay. So first P1, process P1 is enter into the CPU. Okay. Entered. Waiting process 0. And but here what is the time quantum? How much it is? 20. Within the 20 milliseconds it needs to execute. But here the burst time is 53. So whether it is executed here or not? No. So within the time slot it is not executed. Just a minute. Okay. So here burst time is 53 and time slice is what? 20. What is remaining? 33. Right. Then it will go to the next process. Here process 1 is not executed, but time is up, but time slice is up. So it will end. It will go to next process P2. P2 is having 17. Within the time slot, within the time slice, it is there. So it is executed here. Executed. P2 is executed successfully. So first executed process is P2. Okay. Next, then again it will enter into the next process. Process 3. Process 3 of process 3 burst time is what? 68. But we have time quantum is 20. Minus 20. Minus 20. Remaining 48. Okay. Just a minute. See, process 1, here it is 20. So P2, process 2 waiting time is what? 20. Next, P2 is executed within this time quantum 20. Then what is the burst time? 17. 20 plus 17, 37. 20 plus 17, 37. Okay. That is the waiting time of P3. Again here, what is the time quantum for P3? 20. Still it is not executed because the burst time is 68. So what is the waiting time of next process? 37 plus 20. That means 57. Then next process is what? P4. P4 is having burst time is 24. But the time quantum is 20. So minus 20. Then what is remaining? 4. Okay, fine. Until this one cycle, round robin, one cycle is done. 57 plus 20, 77. Next, after P4 process, there is no other process. This all process done. Again, it needs to go to process P1. That is nothing but round robin. So it is going to again P1 process. What is remaining? 33. What is the time quantum? 20. So minus 20. What is remaining? 13. Right. So here after P4, next P1 will execute again. Come into the CPU again. So here the time quantum is 20. 77 plus 20 is what? 97. Next process. Still P1 is not executed here. Still it is under process. But the time quantum is finished. So it will go to next process. Next after P1 what is there? P2. But P2 has already executed. So it will go to next process is P3. So P2 already executed, right? May I mark it as executed. Okay. P3. Next P3 time quantum is what? 20. So 48 minus 20. What is 48? Remaining burst time of P3. Okay. So 48 minus 20, 28. Then again 97 plus 20, 117. This is the waiting time of next process. What is the next process? P4. P4 also not executed here. So here next it is entered into the CPU. P4 has only 4 as burst time. Within the time quantum, it is executed. Okay. Then what is the time here? What is the burst time here? 4. So 117 plus 4, 121. 117 plus 4, 121. So here P4 has executed. Done. What about remaining? After P4 there is no other process. Again it needs to go to process P1 again, because P1 is not executed, right? So P1, see here, time quantum is 20, but the burst time is 13. This is burst time of P1 is less than 20, right? Less than 20. So you need to the process 1 will execute here itself. What is the time here? Burst time 13. 121 plus 13, that is 134. Okay. P1 is executed. Here P4, then P1. Next, what is remaining? P1 executed, P2 executed. So it will go directly to P3 because P2 is executed, right? P3. P3 time quantum is 20. So what is remaining? 28 minus 20 is 8. Okay. Then what is the burst time? It has taken time slot, time slice 20. 134 plus 20 is 154. That is the next waiting process of next process. But when it is going to next process, it is already done. Again it will go to the process 1. It is also done. Then process 2. It is also done. Again it will come to P3 process. So it is not executed. Again it will come here. Within the time slice, the burst time is there. What is that? 8. 154 plus 8, 162. And here P3 is executed. Like that, first P2, then P4, then P1, then P3 are executed in this CPU. Typically, higher average turnaround than SJF, but better response. Here, turnaround time is more, very high, but it is having better response because of we are taking CPU is giving time quantum. These are the 4 CPU scheduling algorithms. That's it. Thank you.